And what is up, y'all? This is C4, aka Mr. Foreman. We are at the end of the school year, and this is the final project. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this. I'm going to show you what we will be working on, what I will be giving my students. And if you want to join, go ahead and tag along and hit that subscribe button. All right, let's dive into this, y'all. All right, we're gonna make one of these right here. You're gonna design your own. I'm gonna show you how to design your own vehicle. I'm gonna show you how to, the breakdowns and taking off different parts and various parts of the vehicle so you could create your own. So let's dive straight into this. I'm gonna go ahead and hit new sketch. I'm gonna hit create. All right, y'all know what the deal is. Let's go ahead and bring in that vehicle. So I'm gonna go ahead and import my vehicle in. You should have all the resources that you need before you start this project. It will help your speed process move a whole lot faster. All right, so let's go ahead and let's pick a vehicle. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit done. And the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get rid of these wheels and we're gonna get rid of the grill, okay? And I'm gonna get rid of the shadow. The best way to do that is use the eraser tool. All right, you can use other tools like your magic wand tool and erase it if you want, but honestly I just think the process would be a lot faster. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this video, and when I am done erasing the wheels, the shadow, and the grill, we'll get right back into it. All right, so we have the wheels and we have the shadow erase. We got the grill erase. So if you notice in the video, I kind of shut off my background. It allowed me to see everything that I need to see. And there's a last layer at the bottom. It will give you a transparent background. And now the next step we're gonna do is color our vehicle. So I'm gonna hit the plus button and I'm gonna choose the airbrush. The reason why I'm choosing the airbrush is because I want the soft colors and I want to blend my colors together. You can use a pen tool or the brush tool if you want to, but personally, I'm going to use the airbrush. So I'm going to show you the difference that it makes versus using the airbrush in a brush tool, okay? I'm going to choose purple because that's what we had from before. So I'm going to choose like a regular purple. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight to my layers by tapping the center of it. And then I'm going to go to blending. And then my blending, I'm going to go straight to overlay. I'm going to start my coloring process, okay? So if you notice, when I color, all the shading and the lighting of the vehicle stays put, all right? Now, the reason why I'm using my airbrush is, you notice, not only am I covering more ground, but I have more control over my colors. Versus if I use a pen tool, it's just a hard color. So whatever floats your boat, that's what you use. So what I'm gonna use a little bit of a dark purple in the back, and then I'm gonna use lighter purple in the front. So. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start the process of adding our wheels. So the thing about the wheels is that you need to find an image that matches the angle of your vehicle. So if it was just a sideways view, I would say this would be a lot more easier. But because of the dynamics of the angle of our vehicle, we want the wheels to be in the same place. So that's why I downloaded some wheels that's facing the same exact direction as my vehicle. All right, so what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna get rid of the white background in between my vehicle. I'm going to turn off my colors by going to that button. Once I turn my colors off, I'm gonna go to the paint bucket tool, make sure I'm on solid, and then I'm gonna go ahead and tap the white area to get rid of the background. I'm gonna make sure every trace of that is gone. I'm gonna go in between, I'm gonna do the same in between, make sure all that white space is gone. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna fit my wheels onto my vehicle. And the way I wanna do that, I wanna make sure my wheels are, the wheel layer is on top of my vehicle. I wanna make sure that's on top, for sure. And then I'm gonna take my transform tool, I'm gonna squeeze it down to its proper size. Probably like right there. I would say right there, okay? Now, I'm going to make some adjustments. I'm going to go to my transform tool. I'm going to use these dots right here. I'm going to kind of like wedge it in just some, okay? Just wedge in my wheel, okay? Just a little bit. And then I'm gonna hit done. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and go to opacity. I'm gonna bring it down. Why am I doing this? So I can see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna erase the part of the wheel so that way it doesn't overlap my vehicle in the front part, because we all know that's unrealistic. So I'm just gonna lower the opacity just a little bit, and then I'm gonna go to this eraser tool. If you notice, I'm not using this one. This one's more harder. This one gives you more softer edges, which gives it more of a realistic finish. Again, this process does take time. Okay, so now I'm gonna add my back wheel to my vehicle. All right, so how I'm gonna do that? I'm going to go ahead and hit duplicate. And once I hit duplicate, I'm just gonna take the transform tool and I'm gonna bring it back. All right, and now as you can see, it's a bit off. It's a bit too big. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring it down a notch. All right, so technically the wheel is the same size as the front, but from the angle that we're looking at, it's gonna look a little smaller just so it can make sense visually. So ideally, I'm just gonna make it a little smaller, and I'm gonna hit done, I'm gonna zoom in, I'm gonna see what kind of adjustments I'm gonna have to make. So I got this little gap right here that I wanna fill in. So all I'm gonna do is just move it up. All right, and then I'm gonna lower the opacity down just so I can see what's going on in there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and hit that eraser tool. Now, I need to bring the size down so I don't make a mistake and erase the parts that I actually need, okay? Okay, so we'll fill in the gap later with all the other details. Let's move on. So the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add the wheel on the opposite side of the vehicle, which is pretty easy. All you gotta do is just go ahead and duplicate the layers that you have and bring it down. Make sure that wheel is behind or below your vehicle in your layers. Your layers are very important in this project. You're gonna move it over, all right? And you're gonna move it over probably like right here. Probably might wanna move it back just a little bit. All right, cool. So as you can see the wheel sticking out in the grill piece. All you're gonna do is erase that, call it a day. We need to color these rims, man. So I'm gonna create a different layer. And then I'm going to go to the blending options of that layer, and I'm going to put an overlay on it. So I'm gonna pick a color for my rims. I can make my rims green or I can make them purple. I'm just gonna go ahead and stick to purple, okay? I think for this one, I could go ahead and use the pen tool. I'm gonna turn my color back on. I'm gonna go back to my color history up here. I'm gonna choose one of my purples, and then I'm gonna color in the rim a bit. All right, so again, the pen tool gives you more of a solid, okay? This is the result of it. But if you use an airbrush, you get more softer colors, and you have a little bit more control over your stuff. All right, so we got our rims colored. Cool. Now we can move on. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and add in the grill. I'm gonna use this one. All right, bucket tool. Now, depending on what you got going on, I'm gonna bring down the tolerance level a bit. All right, and then I'm gonna move my grill piece in its proper place. Now I'm gonna make sure also that white area is completely deleted. And what I mean the white area, There's this white area that every time you get rid of a background, it leaves like a white line or white line box around your object. Just keep tapping it until it disappears. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my transform tool. I'm going to move my grill piece into my vehicle, and then I'm going to erase the parts that I don't need. Okay, so I'm going to hit done, and then I'm going to hit erase. Erase the tool. Make sure the eraser tool is as proper size. There we go. To it. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add Joker, because Joker is our character. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and tap the color layer just so I'm on it. So when I import Joker, he would be on top. I'm going to hit done, and then once again, I'm going to turn my color off. I'm going to make sure my color is off. I'm going to go to my bucket tool, and I'm going to tap the white area. And again, you get the white line box. So I'm going to keep tapping it until it disappears, or I'm going to increase my tolerance level until it completely disappears. All right, I got a few white blotches in there. I'll take care of that. And then I'm going to apply Joker by using my transform tool. Yep. And then I'm going to use my distort tool. So notice that my vehicle's angle is pointing towards the camera. So these dots here will allow you to get more of a perspective shape. So I'm gonna bring these down just a little bit, not a whole lot. The main corners is these. So if your vehicle is facing the left, you wanna mess around with the dots to the right, if it makes sense. And the dots to the left, you wanna keep those like separated. Bring the dots that are to the right closer to each other. Right? So I'm gonna turn that off, and then I'm gonna shrink them down just a bit, just a snatch, and put them on, it doesn't matter. I think I'll put them on this side. Or it doesn't matter, you can just put them here. All right, and then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and blend him into the vehicle. I'm gonna use overlay. If overlay doesn't work well, you can also use multiply. And if multiply doesn't work, then you keep trying until you get the image that you want. All right, so I think I might just go with overlay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with overlay. So once I'm satisfied with my placement, I'm gonna move on to the next thing. I'm gonna go ahead and add a Joker onto the hood of my car. And I am going to go ahead and import Joker's face. Okay, now these designs all depend on you. I'm gonna turn them this way, and then I'm gonna turn on my distort. You can distort it as much as you want. Notice that I'm doing this based off of the shape of the car. And again, go ahead and go to blending and go to overlay. Voila. All right, we're getting there. All right, so the next thing I'm going to start adding my emblems, my symbols and emblems. All right. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that my windows are tinted all the way. Now, the cool thing about this one is that the windows are already tinted here, but I want to make the change in the front part. So all I'm going to do is, yet again, create another layer, and this is going to be my tint layer. And I'm going to turn my color back on, and then I'm going to change it to like a dark gray, all right? And then I'm going to make sure that that is on multiply because I know it helps darken. And then I'm just going to go in there, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shade it. All right, so if that dark is a bit too harsh, I can also bring it down some with the opacity. All right, So far, so good, man. I got my vehicle. It's pretty tripped out. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is take care of our headlights and our tail lights. We're going to create a new layer. I'm going to choose the color green because green goes well with Joker. I'm going to choose a light green. I'm going to make sure I have my airbrush on, but I'm going to make sure that my layer is on soft glow. So that way, when I color it, it gives a nice little glow effect. Now I'm going to expand the size of my brush just so it could give a nice little flare. So you can see right there, and when you go over it, it gives a nice soft glow, okay? Now what I'm gonna do on the edge here, I'm gonna do like a small line of green, and this is going to give the effect as if there's tail lights on that end too. I mean headlights on that end too. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and add my background. I'm gonna give it a night background so that way my glow effects and everything works well for me. Already, it's looking amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of blend my vehicle into my background a bit, okay? There's a couple of touches I'm going to make to it, and one of them is definitely going to be creating more light for my tail and headlights, and also creating a shadow. Okay, so let's get the headlights out the way, honestly. Head and tail lights, let's get that out the way. So I'm gonna go back to my headlights and tail lights, and then I'm gonna increase my brush size on my airbrush. Just touch it up a bit. So once I have that there, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you a nice little trick here. You do a shadow a couple of other ways too, or you could just take the airbrush and go in there and just lightly shade, which I think would become a lot more effective. I kind of like that more. You could go in there and do it just like that. Just a left and right action and slightly touching your screen. It should give you a shadow effect, which is pretty cool, okay? All right, awesome. And and there you go, folks. Thanks for watching.